So this chart is another chart which shows the classification of disorders. This is similar to the previous one. Now, coming to this chart, is it clear? Okay, I would like you to pay attention here. So this chart we are going to see in two ways. Firstly, you have to see how different disorders present in young children and old children. Okay, so we'll see individual disorders first. Like developmental disorders. In young children, the symptoms that we see are that they are not able to sit, or they are not able to walk, or they are not able to respond to name call. It seems that they are daydreaming, they are not completing activities. Okay, in older children, we'll see that they are not able to make friends, they are lagging behind in studies, they have academic problems. When it comes to mood and anxiety symptoms, in young children, we see that they are very cranky, irritable, or they may become very quiet. They try to hide in front of outsiders. They'll go and hide behind their parents. They may have refusal to eat or go to sleep. In older children, we'll see that they are very shy. They are scared to talk to teachers or outsiders. They are not answering in the class. They are irritable. They are harming. They are showing self harm behavior, staying aloof. Okay, next, when we see disruptive behavior disorders, we see that they are not obeying commands, answering back, teasing, fighting, frequent complaints from school. Okay, in older children, they are very argumentative, they are stealing, lying, bullying, hurting animals, there may be history of drug use. Next, when we see learning disabilities, we see that specifically they have problems in studies like difficulty in identifying alphabets, confusing alphabets, avoiding writing, making silly mistakes, spelling mistakes. Okay, so my objective was to tell you all that these disorders can present with so many different kind of symptoms. Look at the variety of symptoms which can be seen for a particular disorder. And age wise also, in young children, older children, they may present differently. Okay, so you always have to correlate the symptoms with the age of the child. Next, second objective of mine to show you this chart is focus on the highlighted text. Now see the pink highlighted text, poor academic performance. So, poor academic performance is one symptom which can be seen because of developmental disorders, or mood and anxiety disorders, or disruptive behavior disorders, or learning disability. All four of them may present to you like a child having poor academic performance. So, it is your now it's your job as a practitioner to identify what is causing this poor academic performance. For example, if this is due to developmental disorder, right, the child is not able to understand things because his brain development is less. So you can see that he's daydreaming, he's lagging behind in studies, not sitting in the class because of behavioral problems. So, what is happening? Academic performance is getting poor. In case of mood and anxiety symptoms, the child is scared to talk to teachers and outsiders. He is not able to answer in class because of anxiety, which is causing his academic performance to decline. In case of disruptive behavior disorders, he's involved in so many fights, aggression. Okay, then he's busy leaving out from school, missing classes, not obeying commands, which are causing their poor academic performance. And in SLD, there is difficulty in reading, writing, identifying alphabets, spelling mistakes, which causes their poor academic performance. So my objective here was to show you how symptoms can overlap, how they can overshadow each other. Is this thing clear to you? Shall we move ahead? Okay. So this is this is the gist of the previous chart. So in CAP cases, we see lots of diagnostic overshadowing and diagnostic masking. So what is diagnostic overshadowing? So in psychiatric disorders, they may be missed in children with developmental disorders because all behavioral symptoms may be considered a part of the developmental disorder. We will think that all the problems which are happening are all because of the intellectual disability in child. Therefore, what is happening? the intellectual disability, which is the developmental disorder, it is overshadowing the primary treatable psychiatric conditions. Maybe there is underlying anxiety or depression, but these due to which the irritability is happening. But the intellectual disability, the developmental disorder is overshadowing the primary treatable depression. We know that intellectual disability cannot be reversed, right? It cannot be cured, but depression can be cured. But due to diagnostic overshadowing, we are not able to do that. Okay. Next, we'll see what is diagnostic masking. This is also synonymous. So this means that presence of developmental disorders can mask manifestations of a primary psychiatric disorders. I'll explain you in simple terms. For example, a person with mild intellectual disability develops mania. Okay. Now, if the person's speech is not developed, what will happen? You will not be able to get the speech sample, the delusion of grandiosity, and the flight of ideas and the over talkativeness because the person's speech is not developed. So the primary disorder is masked by intellectual disability. Okay. So the presence of cognitive, language, or speech deficits, especially when the developmental disability is severe, for example, mood disorders in children with developmental disorders may present with excessive laughing or just increase in stereotypic behaviors. And you will not have that DSM criteria available to you. It will not meet, but the mood disorder is getting masked. So this is a problem which we face in child psychiatry, which we have to take care of. Are these points clear to everybody? Shall we move ahead? Great. So, summarizing it, children may, as we saw in the previous 2-3 slides, children may present with more than one symptoms. It is important to decipher the order of development of the symptoms. When we know the order of development, we can go towards the proper diagnosis. For example, if a child comes to you with history of fainting spells, which has led to the symptoms of staying withdrawn, then irritable, school refusal, we have to think about this. If we know the chronology, that the current school refusal and fainting spells, which are dissociation symptoms, they may be the symptoms overlapping the underlying depression and anxiety. So when we take a proper chronological history, we will know that the problem began with symptoms of depression, like the child staying withdrawn, feeling low, talking less than usual, taking less interest in activities, which when like not taken care of or not catered to led to the development of dissociation symptoms. So chronology and order of development of symptoms is very important. Next, we should also know about the peak of illness or the disability in the ongoing concerns and the circumstances around them, because this will give us an idea of the precipitating factors. Okay. Last, this sequential order of complaints gives us better insight into underlying psychopathological states and helps us in management. So this is clear. The take-home messages from this slide is that there may be more than one symptoms. We have to inquire in detail about all of them, also in a chronological manner, and taking care of the peak of illness and disability. Okay, moving forward. Now we'll see an example. Okay. Okay. So Shraswati Lavanya has written that dissociative disorders are mostly precipitated and accompanied. Very true. This is true that they are accompanied with depressive and anxiety symptoms. This was one example. They may be present, all of them may be present at the same time. But in case of child, when he presents to you with that dissociative episode, he may not tell you about the depressive and anxiety symptoms, right? And the parents may not have recognized those. In that case, you have to ask leading questions and try to dig it further and take out that history, because we know कि ये कहीं ना कहीं present होगा. Since you have the knowledge of that, you are going to dig it out. Okay, and treat the underlying or comorbid anxiety and depression. Okay, am I clear, Lavanya, Miss Lavanya? Okay, now moving ahead. So we are going to see an example. A case of dyslexia, specific learning disability का एक type होता है dyslexia. Dyslexia can present to you with some direct, presentations like The parent may say there is scholastic backwardness, most common presentation, that the child is not able to perform well. Second, cognitive symptoms might be there, that the child is having poor memory, he's not able to learn, he can tell orally but is not able to write answers, the attention span and concentration is poor. Academic skill deficits is there, like poor handwriting, poor spelling, the child is very slow, falling grades. पहले वो बहुत अच्छा कर रहा था, earlier he was coming first in class, or first तो खैर नहीं होगा इसमें, I'm sorry, earlier he was doing very well but now he's not able to cope with the academics in the higher classes. Like first second class tak the child is able to cope, he's able to pass, but when he comes in third and fourth, where more of writing is required or more of reading is required, dyslexia, it is becoming difficult. So these are the direct presentations. Next, we see the child may not present to you with all those presentations that we saw before. The child may come to you with somatic complaints. A child comes to you with headache. And again, like we discussed the previous case, he comes to you with dissociation symptoms. And what happens when you dig deeper? There was no anxiety or depression, but the problem was dyslexia. Similarly, the child may present to you with externalizing symptoms like those of ODD, conduct disorders. There may be oppositionality, lying, stealing, truancy. And when you dig deeper, you will understand this was all happening because the poor fellow was dealing with dyslexia. Internalizing symptoms like being dull, withdrawn, irritable, tense all the time, crying easily, exam phobia, not going for exams. Okay, that's why children say I'm having headache, I'm having stomach ache. Parents take them to pediatricians and all their investigations are normal. Still, they are not, their headache is not resolving, their stomach ache is not resolving. Why? Because these are somatic complaints which they are saying for school refusal, for avoiding exams, because they are dealing with problems due to dyslexia. So a child can present to you with indirect presentations like these, which can be due to dyslexia. So these are equally common. And now just realize and see the importance of digging deeper and going back and seeing chronology and understanding and identifying the symptoms overlap. Right? Shall we go ahead? Okay. Similarly, another example of conditions which can be mistaken for ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. So you may think it is ADHD, the executive.
Very excellent session, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a
very much.
lot.
This
We enjoyed
motivates
the
me.
session.
Thank you, ma'am,
Thank
for sharing your knowledge. Thank you.
After a
It's
long
really very
time, we
helpful for me.
Thank
sit
you
in
very
a
much.
Wonderful and insightful session, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Ma'am,
so
can
much.
I ask a question?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
यस मैम, मैं आपसे ये पूछ रही थी, जैसे आपने बताया कि पूरा जैसे प्लान हम पेरेंट्स को बताते हैं, तो ADHD जो है वो एक इयर्स बाय लगते हैं, जैसे पेरेंट्स को हमको टाइमलाइन कैसे देना है फिर?
ओके, सो पेरेंट्स को एक्चुअली हमें स्टार्टिंग से साइको एजुकेट करना पड़ता है दैट इट इज अ न्यूरो डेवलपमेंटल डिसऑर्डर. सो द प्रॉब्लम्स एक्चुअली बिगिन इन द womb, right? The genetic makeup, because there are genes involved, right? So the genetics, there is a role of genetics also in this. Then there are roles of environmental factors also. And then we have to tell them subtle signs which they might have ignored while the child is developing. So we have to start from there. We have to tell them the